You're listening to Ready, Set, Create.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Shawn Prez.
All right, let's hit it. This is Ready, Set, Create, the podcast for creatives. My name is Shawn Prez. We have Namarah.
Yeah.
She's here today.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to talk about Dea?
The album?
The album, the person, all the above?
Yeah.
What's
sure.
on the table today?
Everything, as long as you ask for my consent first.
Okay. All right. No holds barred. Let's do it.
Yeah, no,
All right, so you just released a project a few months ago. Titled your actual name now.
Yeah,
Dea. Tell us about it.
So Dea, the project, is a story of my own, I would say my journey over the past few years, an emotional, spiritual, mental journey of where I've been, both in life, but then also just like, again, the emotional places that I've had to go. And some of the songs are written post those moments, and then other moments, hold on, we have somebody about to come in.
Oh no, it's fine. You guys are good.
Oh, okay.
It's atmosphere, it's a live office.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, she's definitely about to, like, interrupt.
No, she's good. She's bringing the mail. Maybe a check or a bill. Is it a
True.
check or a bill?
It's probably both.
Let's ask her.
She's
taking a long
She's not
time.
supposed to know it's in the mail. It's not like Jingle Jangle.
That's true. That's true.
You know how in Jingle Jangle?
Let me ask, is it a check or a bill? None of these are for me.
It's really the bid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who knows?
Yeah, okay.
Somebody has to get their mail.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, no, but you know how the scene in Jingle Jangle where the mail woman, she's like, oh yeah, it's this. Even though she tells, oh, okay, your family member wants this, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But how do you know? You didn't even open the letter. But then she's right.
If it doesn't look like a check, I'm not opening it.
Yeah. True.
I need the bag.
But it's also illegal to unopen things that are,
If my name's not on it. Now,
Exactly.
if it's Robin's, Robin opens all my mail.
Yeah, well, the happiness of married life.
I ain't happy.
No, don't do that.
No,
I
don't
look
open
right
my mail.
into the shot.
Especially we're getting ready to go into Christmas season and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you have to go to the mailbox and you have to like hoard everything. Like,
Oh, yeah.
don't look at the mail. Don't think about it. Just
Oh my gosh, when I was a kid, trying to find what my parents had gotten us for Christmas, because we
Yeah.
didn't do the whole Santa Claus thing. My parents were very proud of the fact that they wanted to show how they loved their children. And
They were
so
not
they
going to
were
give
like-
someone else credit.
We were like, Santa Claus lived at some point. He's gone now, and we're doing what everyone says that.
So that's how they told you?
I'm definitely synthesizing the timeline of how Santa Claus was like debunked for us as a
Right.
kid, but no, we knew very much that it was our parents. And we went into little hunts. There was one time I went and I snuck into my mom's walk-in closet, and she would hide things up on the top shelves, thinking that I wouldn't see. But
Same
I'm a
place all the
sleuther.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one time she got hip, and instead was going to put them on the floor of the closet.
The switch up.
Yeah, but it was on the floor. So when you walk in, it's right there.
Hello.
Yeah, it wasn't too slick, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We're here.
Good stuff. So I'm glad you're here.
too.
Glad you have your project that's out.
Yeah.
You're definitely in a place of transition. Some things are changing for sure.
Yeah.
So with you making this big change, your Instagram handle is I'm Namarah.
Yeah.
Is that going to change?
No.
Okay. Explain the difference between the two.
So between my name change and then also...
Are you going to be the artist formerly known as Namarah?
See, that's the running joke that I have for myself and my circle. I felt like, to kind of give a background of what's happening, I have begun the process of legally changing my name from Namarah to Dea Namarah Angel McCall. Which is like, is it sketchy to share my full government?
If they're sending a check, that's fine. I mean,
right, exactly. Like, there's nothing else. But part of it was a lot of the spaces in my life, I felt like I was bringing parts of myself. and not bringing my full self to spaces. And so that was really troublesome for me. And I had a lot of moments where I felt like I was my most safe self, or like my most authentic self, when I was on the stage. And so I tied it to that, like me showing up as Namarah. I was like, you know, I'm performing, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But then again, as I had said, you know, this album paints the picture of my emotional journey. I would say probably 2011 into, say maybe now, so a good 9 years of my life. It was really, internally for me, a tough time. So, you know, I had one therapist say, like, you know, ask me the question of like, do you hate yourself? And it's like, I don't know. You know, sometimes people would be like, you do. It's like, no, it's not that. Like, that's, first of all, how are you going to tell me, you know? Wow.
Telephone call.
No, but I mean, the thing that was really hard for me is how is a person going to tell me or kind of label me as like, do you know, how do you feel about yourself, when honestly the only person that can really say that is me.
Right.
But I never was able to actually articulate who I am as a person.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lot of labels. The first one was, you know, I'm, you know, this girl whose parents are, you know, in leadership and ministry. I'm this performer. I love theater. I had all of these different descriptors, but I didn't understand who exactly I was. And so that, knowing that about me, when I went away to school, I had this whole journey of trying to even explore what that looked like. So like the first few weeks until like maybe 2 months of my freshman year in college, I was like, you know, what would happen if I walked around speaking with a British accent?
You did that.
I did.
What is with you people and British accents? Do you guys want to go that bad?
Oh, well, when I went, I was like, this is fun, but y'all don't have any, like, I don't know. I feel like England is great, but also very subdued. So
All right,
even
we got to hear it. Let's come on, let it rip.
I mean, I don't really think it's that serious, but I mean, I really tried my best.
Okay.
And that is what it was. But,
I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a 7.
It's 7. So, you know, it's not that serious.
Okay,
but
you're pushing 8.
Yeah, so here, right, you know, you just kind of continue with it very
Right.
casually. And so people who don't speak that way, they're going to be like, okay, that's her. But then there was a moment, even in my early childhood, when people couldn't pronounce my name, Namarah. I remember I was in like the 2nd or 3rd grade, and we were out in recess, and this person was like, what's your name? And I told them my name, Namarah, and they were like, I don't know how to say that. I'm like, okay. You know, the consistent narrative of like, it's hard to say a person of color's name, even though you can say Tchaikovsky very easily. But, you know, it's different. Anyway, I'm gonna just leave that to you there. So one day I decided that when we played our games in recess, that someone should call me Ashley instead. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because I thought, okay, you guys easily know how to say this name, so just call me this name.
Just call me Ashley.
Like, I would rather you call me a different name than
mess up my
name. So I have a very strong relationship with the name Namarah. Knowing that, I always, again, just felt like I couldn't bring my full self though, because I didn't really understand who I was. So like jumping back to the actual timeline of me being in college, a lot of things happened where I felt like I was falling apart. I remember sitting in my counselor's room, and I had said, and I'm getting emotional about it, like I'm not gonna cry on camera, but I feel it, where I had said, I feel like part of me is dying all the time because I'm not speaking who I actually am, and showing who I actually am. And that was hard. That was really hard. And so I started to, you know, in this like consistent, I guess like inner turmoil, I finally was like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to just do whatever I want. Everything on impulse, I'm going to do and explore. So I went and I explored a ton of different things. And, you know, when you do everything without restraint, you end up in even darker places.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Naturally.
and that's what happens.
Right.
And so in one of those darker places, I began, you know, just writing about those moments. which is where the title track came to be. So it was December. It's actually going to be the anniversary tomorrow. So today's December 1st. December 2nd at 2 a.m. In 2015 or 16, I had just started learning the kalimba, which is the instrument that's primarily seen and heard.
Which is not called a thumb piano.
It's not called a thumb piano. I think that's like the westernized or colonialized way of calling something that's indigenously from, another culture. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
I was playing this melody, and I remember I was praying, and I was just like, I just need something different. Like, I just needed something different.
Yeah.
And I heard this lullaby, so I started to sing it to myself, and for whatever reason, I grabbed my phone and I immediately recorded the whole thing, and I'm just playing this melody on the kalimba, and I'm humming and singing this song. And I heard God say this name, Dea. Like, I just heard it. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna just mentally note, and I wrote it as the recording, and I kept it.
Yeah.
And so a year later, I moved back home from, upstate New York, and I had this dream, same time, December the 2nd, 2016.
Yeah.
Yep. At 2 a.m. And the reason why I know it was 2 a.m. is because I woke up at that time. But the whole recording of me playing that same melody was in the dream, but instead just humming were all these words. And whoa, I'm emotional. I didn't think I was gonna go here. Yeah, so all of these words came, and it was the thing that was really the conversation that I kept having with my mom at the time was talking about detours, and how when you go through different detours in your life, you think that they're things that are meant to derail you, but instead they're the things that you have to go through to understand everything that happened in your past folds into the becoming or the revealing of who you are. And so all of these words just came, and so I immediately just went into my journal and wrote all of the lyrics. I didn't alter any of it, and I just was like, it was a whole God thing. I called my mom from the room.
Yeah.
I was in my childhood bedroom, and I called my mom, again, this is like 2 o'clock in the morning.
In the same house?
Yes, in my childhood
phone.
home.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so I called because I'm thinking call, but like I did call her to wake her up, so she came, because I couldn't move. Like, I was so emotionally shaken up with this song. And she comes in and she's like half awake, and I'm just like, whoa, God told me this dream, and there's a song. And I'm like, she's like, slow down. Like, what is happening? Like, what is this?
What? It's 2 o'clock.
And she was like, it's like Dea is a name about new ideas and new perspectives, and God just wants to show me what it looks like to look from a different perspective. And so I never wanted to get away from that. Like, I felt that was like my own personal lullaby.
Yeah.
And there's a story of Isaac, not Isaac. It is Isaac, it's Jacob, who wrestles with the Lord. And it's one of my favorite stories, along with Joseph and all these other ones. But that story in particular was really, really important to me, because Jacob's name was first called the trickster, right? That's what the name means.
Right.
And so in every aspect of his life, like it was good. It was helpful for him that he was showing up to these spaces, and he was like, look, I can do all this and make sure that my team and my family are good. But when he got into this place where who he was no longer serving where he needed to go and who he needed to become, he was in the middle of the night again. Like that story was Jacob wrestling with God, like in the middle of the night, and God gave him a new name. Not so that he could, be like, oh well, I'm Israel now.
Right.
It's like, but your purpose is expanding. Not that it's changing, it's expanding to something different.
Right.
And so for me, I feel like when Namarah, that name, it means that which was bitter has been made sweet. It's very beautiful, right? I felt as though every single space that I walked into, even if it was toxic, that one of the things that I'm really good at is making people feel better. I'm good at making people feel, seen, heard,
Right.
comfortable, and safe.
Yeah.
And like I help take that bitterness away. But then I kind of like internalize that, and so I would always hold the toxicity. I would hold the bitterness and carry that with me after I've already put out all of this healing, energy, whatever, emotion, encouragement, whatever you want to call it. And so Dea was this new name that allowed me to give a new perspective of where I am and what I'm capable of doing when I partner with the Holy Spirit and I partner with God.
Right.
And that was for me, like, that's what's carrying me into the next phase of my life. Because Jacob, his name was always still Jacob.
Right.
But God called him Israel. And everyone else, started to call him Israel because of what was happening and what was coming out of him afterwards.
Right.
So that's what my name change really came from. Long story short, I can't be concise.
That's why these podcasts are here, in order to tell these long stories.
Yeah.
So it's really cool because something that happened for you personally, it also affected your brand as well.
Yeah.
So you're still going to carry, the name Namarah because, it was something that was bitter that became sweet.
Yeah.
So Dea becomes like your sweet part.
Yeah.
Of this whole thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think that really kind of like speaks to a lot of creatives too. Like, you might be having, levels of identity. Like everybody always kind of like gives it kind of like this like shallow look, like, oh, I'm having an identity issue.
Yeah.
That could have so many different layers or levels beyond it. It could be, could be something from your family, could be something spiritually, it could be relationships.
Yeah.
But I think you definitely have to, kind of like get a grip and say like, yo, this is who I am, this is where I am, and this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
So I think that's...
And there's a huge importance of naming things.
Right.
Like when you can look at it on a spiritual aspect, but you can also look at it as a therapeutic and healing aspect. When you give something a name, it gives it power, but then not only does it give the thing itself power, it also allows you on how to deal with it, how to navigate it, how to move through it. If it's something that if you can't describe or define something, it's almost like an impossible problem or situation. Like there's no direction there.
Right.
And so a name helps focus what that's supposed to be.
Super dope, man.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's cool. So I'm glad you shared that story.
Yeah.
It's completely different from what we were going to discuss, but I'm so glad you did. And I'm sure that was, definitely helpful for somebody. You have a really, really strong presence on social media. I can say now it's been a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that might be pretty cool to talk about. How you as a person, you definitely want to take this break from social media because it's taxing. But at the same time, you still have a creative brand that you need to push forward.
That's also helped my branding actually though too.
Right.
Yeah. So I would say that aside from, I call myself on social media like the healing prophet or whatever.
Okay.
Right? So like the prophet's like, okay, so she's Christian.
Yeah.
You know, that part. But then also it's the act of like, I'm actively healing in front of you on social media, meaning that some of the things that I'm going to do, it may not make sense to you, but it makes sense for me because I'm healing and we're all healing. And I think that is the importance of being vulnerable in those spaces and allowing people to approach those tender and vulnerable spaces that are also still, protecting your identity, protecting whatever it is you need to protect on social media, comes through and shines through. And so, like I took a month off from social media. I actually counted, it was 30 days of me not engaging. And since I've come back, I've created a strategy of, okay, I only allow myself an hour to engage with all social media platforms a day. So how does that help me? It helps me because I don't fall into the comparison game. I get on and I get off, and then I can also engage with reality. So that part, and then also engage in my relationships because social media is really important. But if you don't have quality relationships, I feel like your social media becomes disingenuous.
So how do you build quality relationships on social media? Because I feel like that's super hard for people.
Sure, yeah. So that's from direct messaging and follow through,
Okay.
right? So for me, having an actual conversation in the DMs versus like, oh yo, like I'm promoting this thing. Now I'm not saying that I'm doing that. I'm only doing one or I'm only doing the other. I definitely will slide into someone's DMs and be like, I have a new merch store. You know, like I'm gonna do that.
Right.
But I'm also knowing that if you're going to engage with me and you have something to say, I'm going to respond to you and be fully present with you, because that's what people are looking for. Another way is when I go live. If someone, you know, sends a request to go live with me, I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to answer it. And I've had really interesting conversations. So
what's the time constraints on those live calls?
I try to, you know, intuitively know when to bring it to an end, because you can feel when the conversation is just dead space now, you know. But I've only had 2 situations where I've been like, yeah, this was really good and kind of long, but it was still worth it. The first conversation I had, again, I was healing. So I was just having a rough moment, and it was late in the morning, or late at night, really early in the morning, which is usually when I'm going through my emotional bouts or whatever, moonlighting, whatever. And so I was worshiping. I was playing like my guitar. I had 2 lights on. It was like in the shadows. You really couldn't see much, but I was singing. And this girl in London asked to go live with me. And she was 14, and she was just asking me questions about, you know, why I was on, and then we started just connecting, and she explained that the reason why she followed me is that one of the songs really helped her out of a place of depression.
Wow.
And that really hit me, because I felt like where I was very close to going into like this cycle of depression again. And so like that encouragement of this girl saying, hey, what you're doing and what you're putting out is helping me. It's like, wow, you don't even realize that you're helping me to not give up on myself, you know? And so we had that conversation, and we were on for like maybe 30 minutes to almost 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, just talking. And then I just started to encourage her and like tell her to keep going, because she was also a creative, and you know. And then we had another conversation with someone a conversation with someone in South Africa, and we were just talking, you know. And those are the things that really are important, like having one-on-one conversation and intentional time. And then on top of it, the added is that it's public, you know. I'm IGTV, it's live, so everyone who's there watching me engage are also watching me forge this real relationship on camera.
And that's something you're going to have like fast follow-up with. Right. Not just from like an algorithm, you know, perspective, like if they post, then I'm going to, you know, follow through, but just having that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, and that's how you build your fan base. That's how you build your following. It's not about, I mean, sure, the numbers are important, but at the end of the day, the quality of who's supporting you versus the quantity of who's supporting you is going to determine how you grow.
I think a lot of times people look at the numbers, like, you know, I'm trying to get to 100K or, you know, X, Y, and Z. And that seems impossible if you're going the route of making those one-on-one interactions. But it's making those one-on-one interactions where, you know, for this season, I might be talking to these people directly, consistently all the time. But, you know, over time, that's going to graduate and it's going to evolve, just like I'm going to graduate and evolve. So I think that's really dope. That's a good way to keep a good grasp on it, too. Building that community, self-healing, you know, that's super powerful, man.
And I think the truth is that when we keep running this race or whatever, this creative entrepreneur race.
This race.
You know, the of keeping up with everything. Like there's a new app that you want to like get situated with, or you need like this new camera, or you need this. There's always something that's continuously adding to what you need in order to be successful. When the truth is that people buy into your brand because they love and believe in you.
That's it.
And if you honor who you are and understand who you are and are authentic about that, it might come slowly, but those people are going to be committed, and those people are going to want to follow you. Those people are going to want to support you. They're going to buy your stuff. They're going to listen to your music. They're going to be there for you because there's a real emotional connection there. So that for me has always been, I'm a fan of authenticity over everything else. Just be authentic.
So you're creative, you're also an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're also a teacher, music teacher.
Yeah.
Which of these things do you enjoy the most, or which of these things take up the most of your time?
It kind of flows. So I have a moral code for myself, which is also alliterated. So there are 3 things, because 3 is the number of wholeness. But if what I'm doing does not entertain you, educate you, or empower you, I am doing it wrong.
Mission statement?
It's my mission statement. It's also just like my code of ethics. Like no matter what I decide to do, whether that's, you know, just in alignment for myself, like, you know, blowing off steam,
right,
this is fine. Whatever comes, comes. But like as far as what I'm doing, and I know that I can bring my 100% energy to, if I'm entertaining you, I know I'm going to bring 100% of my energy. If I'm educating you in a way that's entertaining you or empowering you, I know I can bring 100% of my energy.
Right.
Same thing with empowerment. Like all of those things. If those 3 things are present, you know I'm going to bring 300%. If one of those things is present, you got 100%.
Okay.
You know,
That's fair.
but we're still going there.
Right.
And so, you know, it depends on the seasons of life for me. I've started to call myself as a teaching artist, because even in my artistry, I'm still teaching, like the words that I have in my music and how I'm engaging with people. You know, I'm teaching them how to bring themselves out of places of like darkness, how to maintain or feed inspiration and creativity. Those are the things that I'm teaching through my art. But also I have my own private studio and I'm teaching. But I also will entertain you by being a dork, you know, just being a derp and just being who I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, those things I would say right now I do more teaching than I do entertaining, just because of the nature of what's financing my life right now.
Yeah, you gotta keep it real. You gotta pay bills.
You know, but at the same time, they all flow into each other. It's a nice ecosystem.
Right, and definitely teaching. I feel like it keeps you sharp.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you teach, you could be that teacher that, you know, is just, you know, passing on information, but more oftentimes than not, especially when I'm thinking about when I was studying for class, when I was teaching what I knew from another person, it helped me be, like you said, sharp on the things that were already in me. So iron sharpening iron type thing, you know?
Right. I liked our first couple conversations when we were working on the Dad Tribe event. I would talk so much tech, and I thought I was really good at like breaking stuff down, and you would just be like, Shawn, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Visual learning. So I mean, that kind of, I thank you for giving me the opportunity, because it challenges me to get to a place where I can explain it better. Because I feel like if you speak English, which in some cases, you know, my English may be different from yours, that continues to give you more layers of how to explain your craft, and it's kind of like elevated. So thank you for teachable moments.
Yeah, well, thank you for, you know, being open to my feedback, because I think that's really hard too, when you show up and you're the expert in the room and then someone tells you, I don't understand. Right. You have 2 choices: to look at the person and say, you're an infidel, or you say, okay, so what is it that I'm doing that is not making this connection? Because I respect and, you know, and know this other individual, but like, I'm not getting to them. So how do I make that work? Yeah. And so,
me and Doc have those conversations all the time. Like, we were doing
literally 30 minutes ago.
30 minutes ago, we were doing this podcast. He was like, it don't look the same. I'm like, so what doesn't look the same?
Right. I was like, to me, that just sounds like a language barrier, but not like in the
Which
way.
adjective are we addressing right now?
Yeah.
So you have a brand new website that's just launched, or a rebranded, redone website.
Yeah.
You did it through Squarespace, which is the #1 web using platform. We're not sponsored yet, but you know, Squarespace, drop me a link. What's your website?
It's IamNamarah.com.
IamNamarah.com.
Yeah.
You have merch.
I do have merch. It's the I Am Healing line, and then you can also get exclusive Dea products there as well.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Super, super dope. Make sure you guys check out our website. You guys can also check out starsandbarscreative.com if you want to build your digital brand. This has been Ready, Set, Create. Go, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and tune into something else on this channel. Catch you guys next time.